They're trying to paint Putin as like, Hitler 2.0, and it's ridiculous, man. Like, it's more complicated than that.
Do you respect Putin?
And yes, I do.
Do you generally like him?
Yes, I do. First off, I try not to talk about Israel for obvious reasons, because there's certain things you can't talk about, and we know why. I will say this.
I don't know why. What? Because you think you'll get like canceled or something?
Well, yeah. For example, I said like the moon landing didn't happen, and people, came after me and shit.
Okay. Wait. Can I just ask you a quick question? Do you respect the Führer?
I don't really know anything about him.
You don't know anything about Adolf Hitler?
No, not really. I know what's been told to me in public education. Your public education, your public instruction is likely bullshit. And we've been lied to.
Hey, folks, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to read what's going on from a pro-republic, anti-corruption, and anti-oligarch perspective, subscribe to The Weekly Patriot. The link is in the description.
Now that somebody who obviously has opposing views to me is here, I want to get your take, man.
Yeah.
So, I'll just try to say my opinion on this Russia stuff really quick. Like, in my opinion, these content creators, like the ones on the screen, you can go ahead and watch the window projector preview so you can see what I'm looking at.
Oh, hey, one second.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're probably going to know who these guys are.
Watch. Okay.
Some people in chat are asking who is he talking to. I'm not trying to sound rude.
Oh, no, this is Pisco, my former debate partner.
Opponent, not partner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean.
And let me make this very clear. I'm like drunk as hell, bro. So I'm gonna try to be quiet while you two are talking.
Yeah, that's cool, bro.
Like, take everything I say with a shot of Everclear, if you get me.
Okay,
I get you.
So, my quick opinion about this Russia stuff, now that you can see what's on the screen and who's on the screen, is this seems like an attempt to chill lawful speech in the United States by invoking this conspiracy that I guess the Kremlin or the Russian government is giving money to content creators to have opinions that run contrary to current American foreign policy. And if that's the case, like, I don't really see what the big deal is. Like, why is this a big deal to you?
Why is what a big deal to me? Why is the
claims?
Okay.
The claims that are alleged currently by the DOJ that these people are being paid by the Russian government, let's say, to have the opinions that they have.
There's the first and most principal thing that I'm concerned with is the fact that the Russian government is engaging in like a disinformation campaign. I feel like just as you would probably be concerned if there was like any disinformation campaign by like Democrats, right? Surely like a foreign based espionage, maybe not espionage, but disinformation campaign aimed at like telling lies to people or to spreading narratives without people being aware of who's doing it would be concerning, especially since the framers of our country were like very concerned with covert foreign influence. I think that is like a genuine concern at like the starting gate, but you can tell me if you agree or disagree.
To a point, yeah. Like, I think anybody, regardless of where they're from, who comes forth and starts speaking, opinions that run contrary to my personally held beliefs. Like, I brought up the example in a short video. Roberto Corona, he is the leader of the Pablo Los Fronteras refugee NGO organization. So this guy basically imports illegal aliens into the country. He is an American citizen, but this is somebody who is heavily funded by unknown sources. As far as I'm concerned, I need to look more into it. But again, he's importing people who are not American, who are, from countries where anti-Semitism runs rampant, for example, or countries that are very dangerous, and they're importing their criminals into the United States.
What do you view that as the connect? What's the connection between that? Well, you just told me, which is the first I'm hearing about it.
Well, these people that are being imported into the country, they are being registered to vote. Unknown to them, they're not doing it willingly or on purpose. But like the DMV, when they issue IDs, they'll register them to vote. I mean that's foreign influence right there. Greta Thunberg, who funds her? She's constantly petitioning the U.S. government to hold one position or another, to vote a certain way, to vote for certain candidates. I mean, clearly foreign interference. Catholic charities. The Catholic Church HQ is in Europe. Nobody, like, what they're doing is a problem.
Yeah,
the thing the Catholic Charities is doing.
Some of what you're describing, I would say, is already a crime and problematic. For example, the illicit importation of people in violation of the Immigration Nationality Act and related statutes, I think would be a crime and would be a problem. We want people who come to this country to do so legally. And so I think that you wouldn't have any fight from me that if what you're saying is true, that there's a person who is importing people for the purpose of having them influence our elections. It's bad enough that they're importing in contravention of immigration law. But for the purpose of, like, let's say that it were true, though I don't accept just because you say it is true, that they were
Fair enough. I mean, if you don't know,
vote, that would also be a problem. You're not going to have a fight with me on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can do your own research on
it. What does that have to do with this claim? Because you kind of dodged it a little bit. It was like, isn't it problematic, the notion that they're like doing this big scheme to?
Yeah, well, what's problematic, and the reason why I bring up those other sources of, I guess, foreign influence, if you will, is that for whatever reason, the left, for many years, has had no issues with those types of organizations or individuals having opinions about or trying to petition or change American public policy. And these dorks, Dave Rubin, Benny Johnson, and Tim Pool, like, I don't like these guys at all, and I don't listen to them. Again, they're no friends of mine. Again, two of these people for sure don't even like President Trump. Like, Tim Pool didn't even vote for him in 2016, and he's actively told people not to vote for him or support him.
You think Tim Pool doesn't like Donald Trump? And also, I don't think
he doesn't.
I don't think that this necessarily just extends to Trump. Whether if they were doing this on behalf of, like, Jill Stein, or even if it were, let's say it was an Iranian conspiracy on behalf of Harris, that would be problematic too. And not necessarily because foreigners aren't allowed to have opinions. Foreigners are allowed to have opinions, but if you're in America and you're doing covered activities that are that require registration under FARA, under our laws, just like under immigration laws, if you're not following our laws, that's a problem. And so the things that you're talking about, like Greta Thunberg, I don't understand why she would need to register under FARA and how that's, comparable. People can have views outside of the country about what other countries should do. I have views about what, like, countries in Latin America should do. I have views about what Ukraine should do or Russia should do. Like, right. So it's not the problem is the violation of laws and the domestic political activities without registration in America in violation of those laws. I think that is a way to distinguish some of the cases that you're bringing up, which aren't on all fours. And I don't care if there are left-wing people who are hypocrites. There's tons of left-wing hypocrites. That doesn't affect me. I'm going to be outraged regardless of who's a hypocrite, because I don't want to be a hypocrite.
No, I understand that. And I certainly get where you're coming from. It just, like, it also just conflicts with the core value that I have, that, like, if we're going to be pro free speech, like, I don't really care if Russian agents, per se, are having strong opinions about American foreign policy in Ukraine.
Okay, so you think we should get rid of FARA?
Well, to me, it's useless for the most part, because a lot of not a lot, but a handful of citizens or a handful of members of the government have dual citizenship, and they actively promote and support the interests of the country of Israel, for example. And there are content creators who do the same thing, and they probably get paid a lot of money. I know one person who does. I'm not allowed to say, but
you're not allowed.
That's
to say?
Okay. I'm not allowed to say. I don't want to get in trouble. But you can actively promote and support this one country. But if it's any other country, like, let's say, Turkey or Iran or, I guess, Russia, then all of a sudden the FBI would get involved. The Southern District of New York is going to get involved, and they're going to go after your money. They're going to spy on you. They're going to spy on everybody that you associated with, and they're going to spy on everybody they associated with, etc. It seems like a gross violation of people's constitutional rights, people's civil liberties. And this has been ongoing since probably, I mean, realistically, since, the Patriot Act has been invoked. People overseas, or people who go overseas and then come back, and, they have opinions that run contrary to, I guess, the regime's motivation in the Middle East or wherever, then they end up getting the government sicked on them.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying, like, FARA is not about stopping all foreign influence. You can absolutely have foreign influence in the United States, and there's ways to do that. What it's about is registering people who are acting on behalf of a foreign principal in an agency relationship, not any American who is acting in the interest of a foreign country. It's where there is an agency relationship, where you are an agent of a foreign principal, conducting certain covered activities for the purpose of or benefit or direction of that foreign principal. So that's what FARA is about, not stopping all influence or stopping all opinions about foreign countries. And so there are a lot of Americans, dual citizens, whatever, who are giving their honest opinions. And if all that, we all thought that Tim Pool was giving pro-Russian talking points before this came out, that's totally legal. And actually, I don't even know that Tim Pool was a foreign agent, because it appears that he might have been duped, actually. So like all of that, or I think he was grossly reckless, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he was knowing about what was going on. And so all that is to say, just because you're given certain opinions doesn't mean you're covered by FARA. And for you to get around that, you need to do a FARA analysis on the specific examples that you're citing. And so it's not helpful for me when you're like, I can't talk about who is the secret person or whatever. You're going to have to point to a double standard somewhere, because I'm assuming that's where your concern lies, unless your concern is more broadly that this shouldn't even be a thing.
It shouldn't be. I don't really believe it should be a thing. I think people who are actively promoting the interests of other countries, let's say, I think it's kind of obvious where their loyalties lie. I never got the sense that any of these jokers were like overtly pro-Russia or spreading misinformation or disinformation about any going-ons in the United States for nefarious purposes.
You never got that impression when Tim Pool like slammed the table and said, Ukraine's the enemy of this country and we need to apologize to Russia?
To a point. I'm more antagonistic towards the country of Ukraine. Well, not the country of Ukraine. I've said multiple times, I think the people of Ukraine are lovely and they're beautiful and their culture and they're people that deserves to exist. And I say the same thing about the Russians and of course the innocent people in the Donbass region who are, being slaughtered by the Ukrainians at the hands of the CIA or at the direction of the CIA.
What?
Yeah, so I'm not a fan or an ally of Ukraine, and the antagonism of Russia is largely what led to the conflict. People are, the cartoonish version that's been sold to the American public is that, the Russian government is, they just want to take over the world and, they're trying to paint Putin as like, Hitler 2.0. And it's ridiculous, man. Like it's more complicated than that.
Do you respect Putin?
And yes, I do.
Yeah. Do you generally like him?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like him.
I don't have a problem. Like, look, man, like the Russian government and its people never did anything wrong to me. Like my enemies are not Russian.
Would you say your enemies are like the Jews?
No. No, I don't do anti-Semitism. No. I'm pro-Trump. So like genuine racists and shit, like they don't like me and they don't share my opinions.
Oh, but you would say like Israel is an enemy of America?
I don't want to say that. Look, I don't think.
Oh,
Israel
sorry.
is
You can't say it.
Well, no, man, you're gonna get me into trouble. Because I try not to. First off, I try not to talk about Israel for obvious reasons. But because there's certain things you can't talk about, and we know why. I will say
I don't know why. What? Because you think you'll get like canceled or something?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
People who have like for example, I said like the moon landing didn't happen, and people came after me and shit.
I missed that during our debate. Was that actually your opinion?
I remain skeptical. We'll get back to that later.
Yeah, sure.
But no, like I don't consider like on the real though, like I don't consider like Israel or Ukraine like my enemies per se. But allies, I'm not entirely convinced, the American people are suffering gravely to fuel their war efforts. And as a result, a lot of people are dying. And at the very least, I don't want that on my hands.
Do you have a feeling that maybe there's a conspiratorial bent to your thinking?
Well, Pisco, I must ask, because the chat wants to know, do you believe that President Trump is a Russian asset?
If by Russian asset you mean, is there a direct agency relationship where he's taking orders directly from Vladimir Putin, I don't have the evidence to support that claim. And so that isn't my position. However, if what you mean is he plays into the hands and will become charmed by and manipulated for the ends of Russia, I think that absolutely in the more kind of metaphoric sense, he's a Russian asset in that sense, but not in the formal agency sense.
Yeah, I'll have to disagree with that. A lot of people want to, paint Trump as like this, like, oh, he's Putin's bitch, or he was Putin's bitch the entire time he was in office, or oh, look at him, he's like a puppy dog, fawning over
I think
the
that's
North
true, yeah.
Korean president. No, I don't believe that at all. I think people who don't make deals and have never like conducted legitimate business like don't understand how like winning people over works. Like if you want to have peace in Eastern Europe and prevent the bloodshed that is occurring in the Ukraine and in Donbass and in Israel, like you can't just like show up and be like, yo, Putin, he's a piece of shit, I'm gonna whip out my dick and show him what's up. Like you have to be nice to them. Like if you're gonna conduct business with someone, like you don't go in there talking shit.
Would you say that in World
like
War
a lot of
II?
us just like don't understand that. Like, dude, we had unprecedented peace when he was president, and now
did that work in World War II with the Nazis?
Well, we're not in World War II.
I know we're not.
We're not in World War II.
But your notion that like we need to be nice to dictators in order to make them behave. I don't know. What is your rationale for that?
Well, I think sensible diplomacy prior to World War II would have prevented the bloodshed, would have prevented the bombing of Dresden, would have prevented all these American soldiers perishing senselessly in this bullshit war.
Was World War II a bullshit war?
Yes, it was a bullshit war. If I was president during the 1940s, I would not send a single American to perish in that war. That was not our problem, and that was not our fight. The Europeans were not able to get their shit together, that resulted in 2 world wars. And some of the most brilliant men in American history perished for no reason. And by the way, for those of us who love polling and love, public opinion and stuff like that, if you were to go back and do the research, the majority of Americans were isolationists and they were anti-war.
Wait, Froggy, you understand that we were attacked and Germany declared war on us, right?
So what? If they want to declare war, so be it. They're over there, we're over here. What are they going to do?
Well, I mean, hindsight being 2020, like that's not entirely fair.
Wait, wait. So if someone declares war on you after you were attacked by their ally, you wouldn't defend yourself and you would just let. Well, I mean, this is stupid. You don't believe this, Froggy?
Look,
they declared war on us.
I want to do a little bit more research.
No, you don't need to do any more research. You idiot. What are you talking about? You've seen enough World War II stuff.
Look, that attack on Pearl Harbor, it could have been prevented. We had the warning signs were there and they were ignored, so we can get dragged into another bank of war. And I'm
another what war?
Dude, everybody knows the bankers dragged the United States into that war, man. Dude, the whole reason why this happened was certain individuals were carving up Europe, carving up Africa and the Middle East for their own personal gain. And when somebody put a stop to that and cockblocked their plans, they somehow were able to goad America into doing their bidding for them. And no, I'm just not interested in watching that many people perish, man. Like here's the deal. Like, if I'm not willing to do it, why would I ask anybody else to do it? Like, I'm not willing to fight people who did nothing to me. I'm not willing to go to war with or shoot at or, whatever, beef with anybody who didn't do anything to me. Like, if I was alive during the 1940s, I'd be like, yeah, the Germans never did anything to me.
They declared war on us.
Now, in 2024, the year of our Lord, like, the Russians never did anything to me. They're not the ones beating me up or throwing shit at me for wearing a MAGA hat. They're not the ones accusing me of all these crimes I never committed.
Is anyone accusing you of crimes?
Yeah, I've been accused of killing people.
By who?
I've been accused of killing. There have been people who passed away from COVIDs. And I've been accused of killing them because I didn't wear a mask.
By who?
Unironically, this is unironic.
Who accused you of this?
Grew up with.
Oh,
I don't want to get into it. We're not going to get into it.
Oh, okay. So people you know.
People I personally know. Like, this happened in my personal life.
You wouldn't wear a mask and someone died and they accused you of killing them.
Yeah. I've been there's guys I grew up with that spread slander about me, saying I'm a bigot, I'm a racist, I'm hateful, and I'm like, I live in Vegas, so like I have rainbow gay friends. I just say rainbow to avoid censorship and shit. And I don't hate anybody, and I don't do hate shit on this channel. But people I grew up with who know me personally because I voted for Trump and like I voted for him in 2016 as like a joke. They said the worst shit about me. And again, like, people overseas aren't, like, Russians aren't doing this to me. They're not the ones making me poor. They're not the ones violating my constitutional rights. They're not ones falsely accusing me of shit. So when people are like, oh, well, you wouldn't go fight the Germans? Like, why? They're not trying to kill. They're not trying to get me killed or my brothers. It's like, oh, you're not gonna support Ukraine, or you're not gonna support Israel or Gaza. I'm like, no. Like,
Well,
Israelis never
in
did
World
anything
War
for me.
One, Germans were literally killing Americans in unrestricted U-boat warfare.
Dude, I don't know, bro. Like again, the boat shouldn't have been there. It wasn't
The
our
boats
problem.
shouldn't have been in, trading with UK.
No.
Okay,
No,
wait. Can I just ask you a quick question? Do you respect the Führer?
I don't really know anything about him.
You don't know anything about Adolf Hitler?
No, not really. I know what's been told to me in public education, but I don't put my public education. I don't hold it, in high regards. I impress upon people that your public education, your public instruction is likely bullshit, and we've been lied to about the reality of the world, which is why the red pill became so prevalent and so popular, because everything around us is a lie. Like everything is a lie, including what is told to us about history. Like a lot of people want me to hate certain people and hate certain groups of people, now and in the past, for some imagined slights, for some imagined grievances, and again, or not. They might be real. I don't really know.
Yeah. So
I
why
wasn't
haven't
there.
you endeavored to look things up about the Führer then?
It just never really interested me. Like right now, like I'm doing my own art right now. Like I'm currently, recording a song, and I'm currently working on this docu-series about, it's like true crime, but I'm calling it fake crimes. So people who pretended these crimes happened, but they didn't.
Are you joking?
It's supposed to be
I
funny.
really can't tell. If this is a massive troll, you're doing an excellent job, but I really can't tell if you're dead on. Like are you a groiper?
No, I don't watch Nick Fuentes' content, and I don't really know anything about him either. I'm just anti-war. Like people just don't understand that. Like I'm against the war. Like I don't know. I'm a working class dude. A lot of my friends, like are cops, or they were in the military, or are in the military, or they're veterans. And I've lost some people, man. Like war is a bad thing.
Yeah, agreed.
And right now, the Democratic Party is the champion of wars. We had a horrific, war on terror continue on for 8 years under Obama. We had the war on terror continue during Bush's lame presidency. And he might as well be a Democrat.
Don't you agree that Obama stopped the war in Iraq and Biden stopped the war in Afghanistan?
Well, no, Biden did not stop the war in Afghanistan. He continued the war in Afghanistan. President Trump successfully negotiated a withdrawal early in the year. For whatever reason, Joe Biden wanted to
he got us out though, right?
In 9/11. He wanted to withdraw. No, well, yeah, at the cost of innocent lives. A lot of people died because of his failure. Like, dude,
but he ended the war, right? But you agree that
no, he didn't. Trump did.
Okay, well, Obama ended
Joe
the war
Biden
in Iraq.
Continued it. Joe Biden continued it. He continued it on for optical reasons, and people died because of it. And they actually tried to use that Gold Star family as, for political points, and that failed spectacularly.
Have you read Curtis Yarvin?
I'm not familiar. No.
Okay. Quick question. So, are you aware of the history of Joe Biden petitioning and asking fervently for Obama to get out of Afghanistan as early as 2008 and 9? And he was, there's contemporary documentation that shows it. In fact, some of the documents related to the Hur report show contemporary docs that he was petitioning to end the war under Obama, and that's very much in line with what he tried to do when he was president.
Wait. You mean before he was president?
Before he was president, he was in favor of ending the war very famously, and he thought that history would vindicate him, and then he assumed the presidency and he ended the war.
Well, he didn't have that opinion for the 8 years that he was Obama's.
Sure, he
boy.
did. Yeah. No, he considered quitting, resigning the vice president.
The war was ongoing and alive and well.
I agree. I'm just saying that he was arguing against it, and just so you're aware, I don't know if you watched the recent Lex Friedman interview with former President Trump, but in it, Trump said that he wanted to have maintained thousands of troops at Bagram Air Base. And so in what sense is that ending the war in Afghanistan, if that's what he's expressing to have been his true intention?
Well, wanting to do something and then actually doing something is
I completely agree, and that's why I give Biden credit for withdrawing and not Trump.
I would have
I thought that they-
given. I would have.
I thought that people talked about the failure of Afghanistan was like, oh, it was Trump's plan, and then Biden just went along with it.
Well,
Like, isn't that what they always say?
that's with respect to the Doha Agreement, that he abided by the agreement, and so I would say that Trump has a role in the nature of the pullout, and I think that he absolutely made that deal, but I just don't think that he had an intention to permanently leave Afghanistan. I think he wanted to leave a problem that maybe he could solve, or that he would have a permanent station of troops at Bagram Air Base and kept a kind of force there. And further to that point, I think that it's overdetermined, because whether or not he had that agreement or not, Joe Biden was going to end that war, because he has historically always been against the Afghanistan war at post. He was in favor of it initially, but he came to realize it as a mistake in the way they did it, and has been arguing for its end for like a decade plus.
Well, we can both agree though that like you're kind of being unfair to President Trump. You're mind reading. You're assuming like, okay, he made a deal.
He said that he wanted. He said this year, less than a month ago, I would have stayed with thousands of troops in Bagram Air Base. In the heart of Afghanistan.
Wait, hold up, Turge, chill. If we're looking at the timeline of events, let's just assume Trump ended up winning the 2020 election. The withdrawal likely would have happened early on.
Wait,
and if it did,
isn't it your position that he
likely,
did win the 2020 election?
Yeah, but we're gonna shelve that.
Okay,
we're gonna avoid that argument
for
now. We're not gonna go down that road.
Yeah.
But if he were to have won, magically, and that time frame came, I think it was in March, is when they agreed that they would leave. I'm of the opinion that Trump would be a man of his word and that he would want to leave. But I don't disagree with you that I know what he said with Lex Friedman, because he's made it very clear in the past. It's like, oh, if you're going to go over there, take the oil, take this, take that. Like, I get it, right? Like, I guess that's what you're supposed to do when you're occupying these
You're
foreign
supposed
nations.
to take the oil? That's what you're supposed to do?
Yeah, well, why else was a United States military present in the Middle East for so long, other than to further the interests of Israel, is to extract resources from these people who likely are not really able to do anything about it, other than give the military a hard time.
That's interesting. I've heard the exact same rationale from Nick Fuentes, that the war with Iraq was to further Israel's interests, in the sense of displacing a regional player, Saddam Hussein, who was counter to Israel's interests, and using America kind of as a lapdog to further Israeli encroachment into West Bank, and to further cement the stability of Israel against threats from Iraq, and so they could eventually focus on Iran. That's what I've heard from Nick Fuentes. Where did you get that from, though?
It's just self-evident. It's just plainly obvious, let's examine this logically for a second. The United States invades the Middle East. They're all over the place. And
which one?
Wherever they go,
which one?
Libya, Afghanistan, Syria.
You would call the
so
Libya
on and so forth.
Airstrikes, you'd call that an invasion?
Yeah, what else would you call it?
An airstrike?
I don't know, dude. Like,
so
the United States is at war with those people.
When America, like under Trump, you understand, Trump engaged in a lot of bombings in
and I'm
his
against
tenure.
that.
Those weren't invasions.
That was a bad idea.
Those weren't invasions, though. If they were, then your entire premise that he's anti-invasion or anti-intervention would be wrong, because Trump absolutely bombed a lot of people, including in Syria and Iraq.
I was
Iran.
Yeah, well,
I don't know if Iran directly, but Soleimani.
Yeah, no, I get that, and he kind of deserved it, but still, I'm speaking in generalities here. So the United States military is occupying. Let's use different verbiage so we don't get caught up with semantics here. The United States military is occupying the Middle East. There's a military campaign all throughout the Middle East.
Currently, or
Correct.
There was?
Currently and before.
There's currently.
For the sake of argument, before, right? Beforehand. Years before this podcast, the United States military was heavily involved in the Middle East, conducting drone strikes, air strikes, covert operations, yada, 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 the whole shebang.
Okay.
Nation building. That's not up for dispute.
I don't think it's reasonably up for dispute. I think that was the stated goal of the Bush administration and was carried forward.
Yeah, it's a horrible thing to do.
By Obama in Afghanistan.
Yeah, and that's a horrible thing. And as a result, a lot of countries in the Middle East are not habitable. they're war torn. They're not safe. There's nothing for the people there, and things are not going to improve or get better. At least they don't believe so, because the military campaigns persisted for nearly 2 decades.
I want to be clear that
over 2 decades.
I think
and
that,
now those people have been displaced, and now they are elsewhere. They're in Canada, they're in America, they're all throughout Europe.
who's that?
And
those
who
people?
benefits from this? Because we don't benefit from this. Europe does not benefit from this. The United States doesn't benefit from this. Somebody is benefiting from this. The corporations, certainly. And of course, Israel, whether you want to think it or not, however you want to phrase it, is antagonistic, or is at odds, or is at war, whatever verbiage you want to use, with a lot of the neighboring countries.
Would you say that it's
So
fair?
it does
would you
serve their
say,
interest when the people, the fighting age males, leave and go elsewhere.
Would you say that it's fair to say that Israel is responsible for Afghanistan and Iraq?
Dude, I don't know. I have no idea. Whatever. Like, look, if Israel wants to dominate the Middle East, I don't really care. I honestly don't. God
Sounds
bless
like you
them.
care.
I like Israelis. No, I don't. Like, I like the Israeli people. Again, beautiful people, beautiful culture, whatever. They deserve to exist. However, at the expense of my family, at the expense of my friends' lives, at the expense of the American economy, I think not. We have been fueling these campaigns in the Middle East, this war effort in Ukraine, and we're printing hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe trillions of dollars, for who knows how long, for all these conflicts. And it is regular, everyday American citizens that are paying the price for it. None of us voted for it. None of us supported it.
Well, if you vote for Trump, if you vote for Trump, Trump is a bigger supporter of Israel than the Democrats. You'd agree with that?
Dude, I don't know, man.
Wait,
They both
how is
sound
that
like
up
they wanna-
reasonably for dispute? You agree Trump moved the embassy to Jerusalem, recognized what Netanyahu wanted them to recognize with respect to the capital of Israel. Trump was helping broker pieces between Israel and other Arab states. The Netanyahu
That's not
administration.
pro-Israel. That's pro-peace. Dude, no, I don't want
Do you reasonably
any Middle
dispute?
Eastern person to die.
Do you reasonably dispute that Trump is more pro-Israel than Kamala Harris?
Dude, I don't know, man. I'm not a mind reader. Maybe on the surface, maybe Trump is. But again, I don't know.
Okay, but like it sounds as though, and I could be wrong, it sounds as though that you're placing at least some responsibility for the deaths of people you know at the hands of Israel. And
No, I'm placing them on the hands of the United States government. We have no business intervening in the affairs of any other nation. I do not believe in nation building. I think the cruelty towards Middle Eastern people at the hands of the American government is abhorrent. And anybody who voted for it, for Bush or for Obama, they got blood on their hands.
But you don't care
And
about
they fucked up.
you don't care about the millions under Nazi oppression in World War II. You just spoke, kind of like you gave a shit about people in Middle Eastern countries. Why don't you give a shit about the Jews under Nazi oppression, or the Eastern Europeans who are being killed by the hundreds of thousands by Hitler?
Well, they, again, I don't know how many millions of people were slaughtered at the hands of, let's say, the German military at the time. All I know is that it got infinitely worse, and the death toll went up another 10, 20 million when the United States entered into this conflict. So again, it's like, how many lives do we need to sacrifice to like, how many lives is okay? Like what's a body count that is necessary to that you're willing to? How do I put this? I'm trying to think.
I think I have a good way to put this. Do you agree that there was an intentional plan to eliminate European Jewry?
I have no idea.
Oh. You're not sure if the Holocaust as an intentional act was a thing?
What do you mean?
Do you believe that there was an intentional genocide of European Jewry?
There was a genocide of a lot of people. There was an ongoing genocide of, people for an extended period of time. The German people faced the exact same eradication that, Jewish European individuals face as well. And again, like, none of this would have been possible, or I believe the death toll would have been significantly less had the United States not intervened. It likely would have been better to just have the European powers just surrender.
Do you
Just
remember
be
what
like,
I
"You know
asked
we're gonna
you
go-"
just then?
What?
Do you think that there was a plan to genocide European Jewry by the Nazi high command?
I don't know if there was a plan.
So you're unsure whether the Holocaust as an intentional genocide actually occurred. You're unsure about that.
No, I'm not saying that.
I know.
Like,
Is it your position, whether you're saying it or not? Is it your position that you're unsure about whether or not there was an intentional genocide against Jews orchestrated by Nazis?
I think there was an orchestrated genocide against all European people by fueling this conflict in World War II.
Including Jews or not including Jews? Or you're not sure?
Well, yeah, including them. Are they not European as well?
I would consider them European, but there are some people who would not, such as the Nazis. And do you not believe that there was a specific intent to eradicate both Eastern Europeans, but specifically the Jews as well?
Well, I mean, I know I'm really simplifying this, but prior to World War II, the German people were horrifically abused in unimaginable ways. They were treated the way that a lot of Jewish Europeans were treated, and as a result, World War II happened the way that it did. And the only way to avoid situations like that is to bring people to the table and negotiate peace. And that means that someone's going to have to be a loser. And we talked about this earlier with like Russia gaining let's say the Donbass region and Ukraine surrendering the war if Trump wins. Yeah, I think that's a win. I think that's a good thing. Ukraine needs to cede that territory. If it means avoiding World War III and nuclear bombs flying over every major city in the world, and then certain places on the planet being uninhabitable for thousands of years.
Do you think that, like, okay, I guess that what you're saying, I understand what you're saying. Do you think that the Jews brought about some violence upon themselves in that interwar period? That they kind of brought some violence upon themselves?
No. A lot of innocent people. A lot of they were mostly like I generally just consider anybody that was rounded up like prisoners of war. It happens.
But
the United States did it. It was horrific.
Okay, but you do believe that like the Germans were betrayed at the end of World War One.
Sykes-Picot.
What?
Do you do believe that the Germans were betrayed at the end of World War One?
I don't know. Betrayal is the right word. I would have to look more into it.
Would you say like maybe
they got
stabbed
a raw
in?
Deal.
Were they stabbed in the back at the home front?
I wouldn't know. I don't know too much about like the battles or anything like that.
It sounds like you know more than you're letting on. Is that fair?
Well, I don't know about that, my friend. I don't know about that.
But it seems like you're able to speak about actions that occurred or didn't occur. And so when you say I don't know, I'm not. You can say I can't answer that. I mean that's a perfectly acceptable answer for you to say I can't answer that. But when you say I don't know, that means that you don't have a thought about it. But it seems like you have some ideas about this period. And you don't need to necessarily share them, but you could just say, I have some ideas, but I don't want to share them presently, or I don't want to talk about that right now.
Well, I mean, my opinions about this stuff is relatively simple. It's more just like, if you look back at a certain point, it's a catalyst for really horrible things to come, like a genocide, multiple genocides of Jewish people, genocides of the Polish people, genocides of German people, genocides of Russian people at the hands of communists. And I know not necessarily a genocide, but a mass death of American citizens, many of whom were opposed to this war that really it wasn't supposed to involve us. And again, like I've asked people who are very passionate about this topic, if me and you were alive in 1942, we're hanging out, we're having a beer or something, and it came up, it's like, hey, are you guys going to go and fight? I would say no. What would you say?
I don't know exactly if I'm in that situation. I don't think that that's a good indication of whether or not I would be in support of the war just because I wouldn't myself fight in it. I couldn't tell you what it would be like to be in that situation. I'm not a very warlike person. I don't agree with war, but I do think that there are such things as a just war and a defensive war. And I believe World War II was both a just war and a defensive war. I think America was attacked. Whether there was warning signs or not, it is immaterial. America was attacked intentionally by the Japanese, and Germany declared war on us, and so I think it was absolutely a just war for us to support Western democracies and Russian, I guess communism in that context. But Soviet communism in that
Yeah, the
context.
Soviet Union.
But I think that the Nazis were a greater evil. But it sounds like you're not convinced that the Nazis were the greater evil in World War II.
If I can interject, guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was
Yeah, go ahead.
actually the Treaty of Versailles, which punished Germany.
Yeah, why'd you say
after
Sykes-Picot?
Well, the only because we were talking about the Middle East, and that's what my mind was on.
Okay.
So I mean, we can just look to history and see what has caused these chain reaction events to occur. What do they call that? Like almost like a black swan event or whatever the verbiage would be for that, where you do something, it's gonna potentially have consequences later on down the line. I'm not arguing for or against it. I'm just, stating the facts of when you have a nation that was severely punished like that, what do you think they're going to do to the people that oppress them? And I'm not relaying
Do you
that
think
to
the
a
Germans,
specific race.
as losers of the war, that they were oppressed by the Allied powers in the World War I context?
They were oppressed by the Treaty of Versailles, and that's what rose to the rise of Hitler.
I mean,
I'm not saying
German people were
isn't that the whole
horrifically
joke?
abused.
Isn't that the whole joke?
I
Where
think,
it's like, and then one day, for no reason at all, Nazi Germany came to power. Like, isn't that the whole joke?
There was a long history leading up to how he got into power.
Well, let me just say
not
this.
agreeing with it.
Let me just say this really quick. Like Pisco, really quick. Like you're obviously against anti-Semitism and racism, correct?
Of course, I'm very much against it.
Well, those things are on the rise right now because of horrific abuses of certain groups of people.
Like who?
Like there's a lot of we're seeing a lot of anti-white racism at the government level in corporate America, and it's blatantly obvious, and people are going to lash out. So, which is why I speak out against all racism, right?
Is that a warning?
It is a warning. People dude, you abuse people long enough, eventually they fight back. That's why I don't really start shit with people. And it's why I'm anti-war. If I'm not willing to do it, I wouldn't expect anybody else to. And I wouldn't prop it up or support it. And it would just make me look like this fake tough guy.
Do you believe that? Do you believe that of the groups that are oppressing whites, the Jews are one such group?
I have no idea who's doing it, dude. I mean,
who's oppressing whites?
What was that?
I mean, you would concede that Jews have a prominent role in corporate America.
I don't know if that's true. I never looked into that at all. I just know that corporate America and academia and even the government, higher learning is.
I think you know exactly what you're talking about, and I think that this kind of dance that we're doing at the moment is a little bit despicable. And I think that
really,
I think that I'm not a sucker.
Are you disputing that
I'm not a
there
sucker.
is systematic racism and discrimination against white Americans?
I am disputing it.
And there's even discrimination and racism against Asian Americans at the university level, certainly.
I think there are absolutely systems that negatively affect Asian Americans, but if what you're talking about and what you're implying, I dispute it with respect to white Americans. I don't think that they're some crazy oppressed class, and it seems like what you're doing is you're warning certain groups, not including whites, to step back. Otherwise, they're going to feel the comeback.
No, not at all. No, not at all. But I mean, it's not even just it's even in general, this happens. I mean, look at what is happening in Europe. There are terror attacks conducted by Islamic terrorists, extremists, and they don't do that because they wake up one day and feel like this is what they want to do. They're conditioned to hate the Western world because their homes were destroyed because of Western military campaigns that have been ongoing for decades. There is prevalent racism and discrimination against certain groups of people in the United States.
Are blacks discriminated in the United States?
And it is very obvious. There's no disputing it.
Are blacks discriminated in the United States?
In what way?
In the same way that you're saying whites. Who's discriminated more in the manner that you're speaking about?
Whites.
Okay.
In current day America, white people are.
Okay. And how familiar are you with Martyr Maid and Daryl
What's
Cooper.
Martyr Maid?
Daryl Cooper. You know who that is?
Who?
Daryl Cooper.
That sounds familiar, but no.
I don't believe you don't really know much about Nick Fuentes. I don't really believe that you're not a Groiper. I don't believe that you know nothing about Nazis. I think you're essentially you're lying to me right now, and I think that you're hiding. Have you heard the phrase hiding your power level?
No, never. I mean, dude, you can
Overnight,
look at my.
Oh my
Bro,
god, is that a
whoa,
fucking Dragon Ball Z reference?
My power level is
whoa, dude,
530,000.
you can just
I want
like
to bring it back here. I want to bring it
no,
back.
no, no, no.
though.
Let me just
Okay,
wait.
go
Well,
ahead.
let me defend myself really quickly. First
Go
off,
ahead.
like, dude, you can look at my timeline, bro. Like, I don't follow his content. I don't engage with it at all. I'm just familiar with all the opinions across the board on the left and right and in the middle, etc. And there are some things that are persuasive and some that are not. Again, if you are an ally in, I can't believe I said that. If you are a friend to all people, and if you are genuinely against hostilities and antagonism against people for immutable characteristics, let's just pretend for a minute that, like, let's say universities for whatever reason are discriminating against Black Americans in some sneaky way, it would piss me off, and I would be 100% against it, and I would cheer on any effort to stop that, full stop. But it's not happening to them. It's happening to Asian Americans, and it's happening to white Americans. And again, we see preferential treatment in hiring, etc., etc. That is antagonistic, or at least a hindrance for white and Asian Americans. I don't know why that is. I don't know who's doing it. I don't know who's responsible for it, but it just happened all at once, it seems.
Do you
Or
consider
at least
yourself?
it's so prevalent now?
Do you consider
It's-
yourself to be
it's
white?
crazy. No, I repeatedly state I'm a BIPOC.
You're BIPOC. You have Hispanic heritage?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm not like totally sold on the notion that you are this egalitarian and you kind of have a race blind approach to racism, in the sense of you just view discrimination based on immutable characteristics to be the ultimate evil, as opposed to immutable characteristics of particular groups. And so, for instance, I might ask you, do you believe that the Jews who were killed on October 7th got what was coming to them?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. I never do. Again, my Twitter feed, I don't delete my tweets. I never ever cheered on or celebrated any violence against any group of people for whatever reason. I've never done that on the show. I've never done that in writing, and I'm not going to start now. No, and the people who were cheering it on and dancing are horrific, and no friends of mine, certainly. Again, people who were happy about that stuff, they're Democrat voters. They're not friends of mine. And I know there's also, people on the far right or whatever that say horrible things about, what happened in Israel. And again, those people don't agree with me on anything. They're not on my side.
Where are you getting your views from? I need to know. You're being very cagey. Don't with me.
I'm just,
Almost your crack pipe. Do not
Pesco,
look
I
at his crack
promise you,
pipe.
like
I'm not
just,
an idiot. Where are you getting this from?
I am an independent thinker. I am a,
You're
I guess
full
you
of
could say I'm a
shit.
heterodox. No, no.
Tell me the truth.
God damn it, bro. Dude, you're denying me of my BIPOC status. You're denying me of my political opinion.
Tell me
Oh,
the
I can't-
truth.
Sounds like
He's
a
cutting you
very
down,
racial
dude. He
argument that he's
fucking
trying to
back, Gio.
classify
What are you
you as a
doing?
white man, a
Yeah.
cisgender white man, Gio. That's what you
Dude, like,
are now.
oh no, I'm gonna take off my my watch and I'm gonna reveal my real skin
Yeah, I mean,
color. Oh, it's so white.
Ah, what the fuck?
Even
Dude, I haven't found out.
even the Muppets are like a little bit fashy. I don't know. There's something about your aesthetic that I find super fashy, and
So-
frankly, it's a little bit eerie when I have this conversation with you.
Back in style. What?
You thought Muppets were back in style or fascism?
That was
Well,
it was vague. It was vague as a joke.
Oh,
I was
okay.
gonna
Dude,
say,
the
you
puppets
can
are
ask
awesome, man.
Zelensky about fascism
Well,
because he
Dude,
canceled
the puppets
elections.
are adorable and they're apolitical. you know?
Can I ask why you live in Nevada? I mean, do you live near the Strip? It's a really diverse place.
Nevada.
Yeah, I do.
Nevada.
And
Nevada.
dude, I mentioned this on the show before. Like, I don't really like care about like diversity. Like, I'm not antagonistic towards it. Like, it makes sense in Nevada. It makes sense in Vegas. Like, that's perfectly fine. And like I engage with people all over the world. And I always say, like, I'm so blessed that there are literally a diverse group of people from all over the planet who talk with me. And I think that's great. I think that's wonderful.
His boyfriend is black. I don't know if you know.
Shut
that.
the f- up.
Are you Christian?
I want to bring it back to the college.
Yeah, I do consider myself a Christian. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to bring it back to the college argument really quick because you said something that kind of stuck with me.
Yeah.
Well, not you, Gio, but Pisco.
Mm-hmm.
So would you agree or disagree with me that it would be not good to separate people based on race in the college campuses or anywhere?
I think that separation on the basis of race generally is a bad thing. I think that integration and cooperation and mutual care and support among different groups and peoples is positive. I don't think that that eliminates the potential benefits of affinity groups. I don't think that that is necessarily anything.
When you say affinity group, I just want to clarify for the chat here.
Yeah.
You're saying like Asian American group.
So for example, there's a lot of like
American group, that type of deal. So
for example, in college, there were times where I worked with or helped out in different cultural events. I'm Hispanic. My family has Peruvian heritage, and we're sharing culture, sharing music, sharing these kinds of things. I think it's a very enriching thing, and it can be a source of great joy and enrichment for people who want to be a part of them. But I don't think that there should be an emphasis on exclusion. I don't necessarily agree with these kind of like white spaces that are like excluding white people. I don't like that. I agree that there are some people who are racist against white people. I just don't view it kind of systemically like in the same way. I think it's actually insane that Froggy said that like white people are more discriminated against more than black people. I think that's just not true.
Where is that behavior being
Where is what behavior being taught?
The racist behavior. Who is teaching our youth to be racist?
Excuse me, sorry. People like Nick Fuentes.
Okay. I'll say.
Do you agree that Fuentes is racist? Yes or no?
No.
You don't agree that he's racist?
I don't follow him enough to form an education.
Bullshit! You don't know anything about Fuentes. Have you ever watched the Fuentes stream?
I've watched a little bit, but I don't know enough to form an opinion.
So people like you who are being really cute, and the people that you sort of follow.
Let me make my point.
Yeah.
Let me make my point because you're trying to sidebar here. So what I am saying, so if I give you Nick Fuentes is in that category, right?
You're saying you're conditioning, right? Like if you grant it, but you don't actually grant it. Just to be clear, you don't grant that he is racist.
I'm for the sake of the discussion,
right?
Because I'm seeing where your logic is behind this. So if you're telling me that Nick Fuentes is this character on the right, then who would be that character on the left? Would it be your college professor? That's the blue-haired professor. That's like, oh my God, racial injustice, yada yada yada. Hate your white fragility.
I don't.
What about those people?
I'm not willing presently to classify all blue-haired people a certain way. I agree that there are probably some blue-haired people who are racist against white people, and I believe that there's probably professors who are racist against white people. That doesn't mean that I think systemically white people are oppressed in the way that Froggy is suggesting. But again,
if you have to take a gender studies class or all this stuff now going into college, right? Because those are your requirements to go into your undergrad. You got to get your GE done first, and the colleges are teaching our kids these type of things.
I don't know how the conflation to gender studies or less racist. The conflation to gender studies and gender issues I don't think is necessarily apt here, and I would posit I would posit that there's a lot of need now for gender studies, since apparently the right wing and MAGA and all these reactionaries on Twitter can't decide what a woman is. If you saw the big kerfuffle,
do they have a vagina?
Yeah, so that's is that your definition of woman?
XX versus XY chromosome, dude.
Is it XX versus XY chromosome? That's your position on what a woman is?
Yep.
Okay, so do you agree that there are some men who can give birth?
No.
But there are some XX people, XY people, who are able to carry a pregnancy to term and give birth through their
that's a
vagina.
Genetic anomaly,
but
bro.
hang on, whoa. Do you agree that the definition of woman is of woman is XX chromosome? And man is XY chromosome. Yes or no?
I know what you're trying to do here, man. So without the anomaly of
no, I just think the definition. It's a yes or no question. It's very simple. If you're willing to say,
minus the anomalies. A man is a man. A woman is
That's
a woman.
you understand that's
and-
circular, right? You're using man is man, woman is woman is not a helpful definition. Do you agree that it's not a helpful?
It looks female enough, good enough for me.
So is it looks that is what defines man and woman? Whether you
I'll tell you
it's
what
the
a woman
science.
is, boy.
yeah,
It's
you guys
the science.
you
What I
guys are
see.
boring. You guys
It's
are
your chromosomes.
wait. So
It
hang
is
on.
your chromosomes that you're born with. It is
Okay,
your
so then so
inherent
you
traits
guys are
like
like memeing your way out of it, but it actually sounds like you're very uncomfortable with some
Female
of
is
the.
X,
It sounds like you
male is
guys are all
XY.
very uncomfortable. That's why you're kind of like nervously laughing.
Well, bro, I didn't say nothing. I didn't
I'm
say
not-
nothing.
I'm
Yeah.
just-
Yeah, it
Dude,
sounds like
I'm
you guys
just-
might need some gender studies and some CRT.
I don't.
Whoa,
I know
whoa,
what a
whoa,
woman
whoa,
is.
whoa,
I know
dude,
what a
Pisco,
woman is.
pussy in
Pisco,
chat,
whoa, whoa.
alright?
Let me just say this. First off, like it's really difficult to talk about this low key because people get banned for having like the wrong opinion about this stuff.
Yeah.
Like to me, the topic is kind of meaningless. Like I think it's pretty self-evident what the truth is. I just don't really want to bother with it because I don't want to get banned, and I don't even think it's that
Yeah, I mean,
interesting.
but then be brave and say I just can't talk about it instead of just hiding and being a little bit of a.
I do tell people that. I say I
yeah.
can't talk about this.
But
And
then,
I'm
but
gonna be
you're
honest
like,
with you
oh,
guys,
I don't
just
really,
fucking talk about
I
it.
don't know if Jews are this or I don't like you're not bullshitting me, bro. Like you know exactly,
Whoa,
bro.
whoa.
So the thing is, you're not cute and you're not funny. In fact, it's very boring to have people who are just kind of like lying the whole time. And I'm
I'm not lying to you. I haven't lied to you at
Who's
all. You
lying?
want me to have like these like definitive opinions about things.
No, but you have
And,
you have
like,
an
I just
inkling what you
can't or I
think.
don't.
You haven't. Yeah, you can or won't. Even that statement is you indict yourself with your own use of language there, and you know you do, and you know I'm gonna catch it, and you know my ear is tuned for it. I'm waiting for you to slip up like that shit, and so you're just giving it away, and you're dog whistling super hard, and everyone can see it, and so might as well just say it with your chest what you feel about Jews and what you feel about trans people. You know, when you say rainbow, you know what you're doing. Like I'm not an idiot.
Dude. Well, first off, I say rainbow people or the Rainbow Coalition to avoid saying
yeah,
words that might trigger
yes.
the algorithm.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
because you want to say
I'm
the
not
word.
saying it.
You want to say the
No.
word that rhymes with maggot, and you want to say the word that rhymes with
no.
Ranny.
No.
That's what you want to
No,
do.
I don't.
Yeah.
No, I don't. No, I promise you, I don't. Dude, I've had a trans individual on the show twice, and we had a very cordial, friendly conversation. I consider them a friend. They are a literal criminal and a member of Antifa. I have no animus towards this person at all. Like I have no reason to lie. I'm telling you guys right now.
I think
guys
you do
see
have
my
a reason.
face, like,
You've literally said you have a reason to lie because you don't want to be banned. You said it.
Well, yeah, when we're talking about that
not-
one specific gender issue, what is a woman?
No,
whatever.
no.
Like, we know why we can't.
The
We know
one.
why we
not
can't.
lying.
But
though,
you
that's
were
just
saying that
complying
like
with the terms of service.
So
I have
are you
like-
telling me that you get banned if you want to define women as having certain chromosomes? That you get banned for that?
I don't know, probably.
You won't get
I
banned
don't
for
want to. I
that.
don't want to
If
find
you
out.
trigger
I don't
one
want to
part.
find out. I don't want to find out. That's for sure. I'm not. I can't get away with saying certain things. I'm not.
All right, guys.
disrespect.
This is boring. You got honestly. I think you guys need to get a life.
Wow.
It's
Pisco, I
it's
thought
a
we were having
little.
cordial
No,
conversation.
because you guys.
You wanna get me
This is
banned,
super.
bro. You're trying
No,
to
I'm not
get
trying
me
to get you
banned.
banned. I'm trying to get you guys to be brave and say it with your chest. And if you're a little bit anti-Semitic or if you're a little bit
No,
hating
let
of
me just say
gays,
this
that's
right
just
now.
one thing. Yeah.
Let me just say this right now. I have zero hostility towards Israeli people. I have zero hate towards them.
I said Jewish
They're-
people.
Okay, well, they're Jewish, so no.
Well,
The
I know,
answer is
but I said Jewish is it's a broader, potentially
Okay.
broader group of people
Yeah,
than
yeah,
Israeli.
I've never said anything hostile or antagonistic, and I have no feelings of hostility or antagonism towards Jewish people. No, we do not hate them. I do not
But
spew
you do
hatred
believe that they're
towards them.
responsible for a lot of the issues that we're facing in modern society, fair? And especially as relates to
Well, I
white
don't
people,
know,
especially
I think
as relates to
Kamala
white people.
Harris- I think Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are responsible for a lot of the modern ills that we are facing.
Whether
today.
they are or not, don't you agree that Jews are responsible for a lot of the problems that white people are facing in modern society, especially young males, white males?
No, I don't think that is accurate at all. And if it is, I wouldn't know. But no, I
Oh,
don't believe that's accurate.
I mean, it's boring, guys.
What? I'm just saying, I don't
guys,
think
get a
because
life.
You want me to?
I
fall
want you
into
to be
your little
truthful.
trap.
I want you to be. It's not a trap. It's just me asking
It
your
is
honest
a
opinion.
trap.
Dude,
No,
I'm telling
the
you,
fact
I'm
that
not
you're
hateful,
the fact that
you
you're being
want me to
cagey
be.
about it.
You
If
want me to be.
no, I think that you are withholding, and it's kind of sinister, and it's a little bit off-putting. And I'm humoring your ignorance for a while, but after a certain point, like I need to stop. I need to be true to myself and realize, and that people in my audience, and be like, I know that these people are bullshitting me. I know that they're just around, and I know that they're probably Nazis, and I think that is abundantly clear from the
Oh,
word
here
what
we
you've been
go,
saying.
dude, hold up. I gotta respond to that, dude. I gotta respond to that, dude. Okay, so then I get to call you a communist
I'd
now,
like
or
you
we're
to come
just
back, 'cause this is right
name
here.
calling because we have a difference of opinion on stuff.
You
Is
guys are
that where you're
doubting
really
the
going? You're gonna bring out the
Holocaust.
ad
You
hominems now,
guys,
Pisco, because you're losing. You're just gonna bring out the ad hominems. Oh, you're not falling into my trap, so I think you're a Nazi. Yeah,
I do think you're a
It's
Nazi.
the 100% catch-all, dude.
I literally think
100%
I
catch-all.
do think you guys are Nazis.
Spencer's like a very normie Republican conservative. Dude, I'm a registered Democrat. I used
I
to
just
work for
said some
Bernie
European
Sanders.
countries were loser countries. And
Yeah,
apparently I'm a
my
Nazi
family
for
got
saying
out of that
Yeah.
shit before World War II. So
Pisco,
go
bro, I thought we were
Yeah.
having
that
a
bullshit.
very cordial conversation, and now you're calling us Nazis, bro.
Well,
Like, come on,
I'm just
man.
telling you. Listen,
Come
I'm
on,
just
bro.
telling you what I feel.
Oh.
I'm literally telling you
Oh,
my
yeah.
my
But
opinion.
here's
Yeah.
the thing,
so
though. Here's the thing, though. I told
wait.
you.
The
I told
guy
you
is
literally.
on logic.
Spencer, shush.
Mark-
Spencer, please. Spencer, stop.
Marches like a duck,
Spen-
salutes
yeah,
like a duck.
I literally told you, like, I don't subscribe to racism. I don't do racist content, and I don't hate anybody. Dude, you can see my Twitter, bro. You can see my public posts on YouTube or anywhere else. Like, it's not what I do. Yet you still insist on, like,
Yeah, but
slandering
I
me,
know. I
defaming
think you
me.
believe in white replacement. Fair.
Yeah, sure.
I think that you're scared about the status of white people in Western society, and you believe that there's a big potential for backlash because of it. And I think that you are genuinely pretty conspiratorial, and I think that you're very skeptical about American involvement in World War II, and you think that Germany was just doing what any other country
and
would do.
also in
and
Ukraine and the Middle
Yeah,
East, which is what we talked about.
I understand,
most.
but when we talked about the involvement in World War II, you're like, I wouldn't have gotten involved. Who cares about what's going on over there? You seem to express some solidarity with some people in foreign lands, but certainly not the people who are being killed by Hitler. You seem to question the extent to which they were being killed by Hitler and his responsibility. And again, you said that like Germany was just behaving as any country in its position similarly would do. And all of that is, I think, consistent with the inference that there's some Nazism belief here. And I think that you're when you're saying
no,
I don't really know about
I'm
this.
grossed out.
So when you say something like, I don't really know about this history, I don't know what's going on here, I think that that's not true. And I think that that's a deliberate, intentional, malicious lie that you tell me.
Well,
So
no.
Pisco-
Well, the thing is, this is like, dude, there was a lot of things that went on. I think the hostility and the violence and all the yuckiness that came with both of those world conflicts. I am against all of that. Like, those are really brilliant, smart people. Some of the most brilliant people in human history resided in Europe, and many of them perished for no good reason on all sides.
Do you consider Jews to
And
be European?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I
That's
said that
surprising.
earlier,
I don't think
bro.
Nazis
I said
usually
that
think
earlier,
that.
bro. I said that earlier.
No, no.
bro.
You asked me whether
Yeah.
I would consider Jews European. I said yes.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Well, you should have asked me.
I tracked the
And I didn't
conversation.
dispute what you said. I didn't dispute what you said.
Yeah,
either.
but you would. I don't think that you would offer or proffer your actual beliefs willingly, and it's taken me a lot to, I think. So for instance, you just said you agree with white replacement theory. That I think aligns with a lot of certain other beliefs. Now, it's not necessarily a Nazi belief, but I tell you, most Nazis do believe in white replacement, and it's just again, it's
I don't know what
it's
Nazis believe, dude.
You do, dude. Who you bullshitting, bro?
So-
Who you bullshitting?
Dude,
you don't know what
It's
Nazis
their
believe? You're
administration.
so full of
It-
shit.
No,
and
I
you
don't
guys,
follow
and you
that,
guys
bro.
are sad, and you
I
guys are
don't-
sad. It's a sad thing to do.
Dude, I don't follow that stuff, bro. Like,
It
I don't
is-
follow that stuff. I'm not a part of any of these groups.
I don't
I'm
believe
not a
you.
part of any group. I'm not a part of any group.
You just said that you were a registered Democrat.
Importing the third world.
Okay, well, that's not like
Yeah.
you know
Yeah,
what I mean.
and
by, like,
again,
groups,
the
bro.
third
Come on,
world.
You're being obtuse.
That sounds
obtuse.
importation of the third world is a common both KKK and Nazi slogan. You know that, right?
No,
Well,
it's not.
Yes, it is, bro.
No, it's not,
You can
dude.
go back
No,
and
it
watch.
isn't.
So
You're just inherent.
100% it is.
I think you are just projecting. It's
Yes.
people like you that have an eye on race. That is your only topic. That's all you see through your lens is race.
No, I think that's all you see. I mean, you're literally feel that white people are victims in America.
A third world can be anywhere, dude. Third world can be anywhere. It doesn't need to be white. Doesn't need to be brown. Doesn't need to be
Okay,
whatever. I don't
these
care
are
the
the last set of questions. I do have to go to bed.
Yeah.
bailing out. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I do have to
Spencer,
go to bed.
let him ask his question.
Yeah.
Let him ask his
I was
question.
gonna ask what his opinion on the Deadpool and Wolverine movie was.
Haven't seen it yet. But
Wow.
You're not missing anything.
okay. Tell
Ask your
me.
question,
Yeah,
Pisco.
yeah. Tell me about IQ. To what extent are white people genetically predisposed to have higher IQs than, say, for instance, black people in your mind?
I'm gonna be I'm being honest with you,
Yeah.
all right? And I'm only gonna want to say this once. I don't know anything about IQ. I never researched the topic, and regardless of whether or not certain groups have a higher IQ than another or whatever the case may be, I don't believe in mistreating people or looking down at them because of their level of intelligence.
I see.
So no, I don't, and again, like I don't really care. Like for example, there's a handful of people that may exist on Twitter who may lean towards liking the spooky mustache man, and they'll bring up IQ and stuff, and again, like I'm not really impressed by that kind of rhetoric. I'm not impressed by people who have this weird pride of, you know, like their let's say their heritage, for lack of better words.
You don't think you
It's
should
like,
be
well, what
proud
are
of
you
being?
doing now?
Wait, you don't think that white people should be proud of being white?
I don't think anybody should be proud of anything.
Of
Yeah, I
anything?
got one final
They shouldn't be.
question
Well,
after
no, let me just say this: you shouldn't be proud of things that you had no hand in. You know, so when someone's like, "Well, I'm proud to be white," it's like, okay, well, I guess cool. Like, on one hand, like I don't really care, but on the other hand, it's like, well, you didn't do anything. You know, like
Okay,
you
guys.
were just
Hey,
born
hey,
that
no,
way.
listen. You guys seem like young guys. If there's ever a moment where you're doubting certain situations about where you're at, you can laugh. It's all cool. I'm being genuine right now.
I'm gonna because
Yeah,
I
no,
think,
no. I just
Are
want
you
to get
inviting me
this-
to a play date?
This is my final. What I'm going to say finally. But I do appreciate the time that you guys spent talking to me. If you ever feel that whatever you're looking at, whatever you're reading, isn't working for you, and you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out. You know, I am a friendly ear, but really, if there's ever a moment of doubt or self-reflection, just let me know, and I would be happy to.
I gotta ask
talk.
the final question on that though. So self-reflection, right? You hate Nazis. So don't you think that Russia's special military operation into Ukraine was good because he killed Nazis allegedly?
I don't accept the premise that it was launched, you know, for that purpose.
But what
And
about Azov, man?
to the
They're
to the extent
Nazis.
that there were Nazis in
Azov's
Ukraine,
Nazis.
to the extent that there were
NBC's reporting on it.
to the extent that there were
CNN's
to
reporting
the
on
extent
it,
that
bro.
there were
BBC.
I'm not denying that there are Nazis in Ukraine. I'm not denying that. Did you hear me deny it?
So then you're a Russia supporter then.
No, I don't think that falls.
See the logic there?
I was about to
See, that's the shit you were doing.
I
to
was
us.
I was about to explain the reason why one can acknowledge that there are Nazis in America. You agree with that?
Sure.
Okay.
A very
They're
small
everywhere.
percentage of it.
I
but not
agree there,
like-
and more are turning up everywhere you turn your head. But you agree there are Nazis in
That's a
America,
matter
right?
Of, that's a matter of
Do you
opinion.
agree
on
there are
the- on
America's
the-
that there are American Nazis? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right,
they
I
exist.
agree.
Okay.
I'll agree.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll
So there are
agree.
American Nazis. If someone invaded America to purportedly to eliminate Nazis that exist in America, I would have no problem supporting America given that fact pattern, and I hope that you guys would too. In fact,
I would not
in
support
fact,
another country invading us.
yeah,
That'd be
I think
my-
that I
that'd
think
be
that
my
that's
stance.
fair, and I think that you would accept that there can be bad people in certain places, and nonetheless you can agree with the overall structure that is being defended, yes, by some bad people. And I'll have you know that there are Nazis in Russia as well, or at least people who are effectively Nazis, people who have like swastika tattoos, all that shit,
Right.
Wagner Group, that kind of shit. But I guys, seriously, if you're ever feeling lonely or anything like that, just really, we have a nice community here that we can give you what I think to be different perspectives than what you appear to be receiving, and truly appreciate the conversation. Much love, guys. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Okay. It's sad, man. Like, on the one hand, it's outrageous, right? But I don't know what to do about that.